Roman is the biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling.
When's the last time you got laid?
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Bro, less people wanted that than are currently watching our streams. Right?
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
You heard the intro. It's the Mark It Down podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matt Cascone, reviewing Raw alone without a sweater. Thinking about you, James. Anyway, tonight, tons of stuff happened on Raw. It's the first night after the pay-per-view Clash at the Castle, whether you loved it, liked it, hated it, maybe a little bit of all three, who knows? We are on a roll right back into the swing of things. We are getting ready for one of my personal favorites, Money in the Bank. So tonight was the first night of qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. But before we can get to that, Raw opens. They're in Corpus Christi tonight, Corpus Christi, Texas, another sold-out arena. And wow, did they not disappoint that crowd tonight at the opening with a certain burn it down. I'm not going to do the rest. Anyway, Seth Rollins comes back. And man, there's people, they pop big. There was a great sign in the crowd. It just said, Seth, come back, with a bunch of frowny faces. And the guy holding the sign was very, very pleased. Was very happy for that guy. Got his 5 minutes of fame. And here I am talking about it now. So good for him. So Seth opens, you can see he's very happy to be back. He's emotional. I think it's a little too soon to come back. I hope this was entirely on Seth. Maybe he's like itching to come back for whatever reason. I mean, maybe he's had a long enough sabbatical and is feeling good enough to come back and he doesn't want to lose his spot. Nothing wrong with that. I would just hate it reminds me of back in 2013 when CM Punk, if you don't correct me if I'm wrong, we got one follower so far. In 2013, Punk, after WrestleMania, when he lost to Undertaker, he went away for a while and he wanted to go on a sabbatical. And at first, Vince McMahon said, okay. And they're like, I got to get you back for payback. It's in Chicago. And not Seth. See, we're talking about Seth. Punk was just like, I don't really feel like it. Why don't you ask me later? And Vince McMahon's like, no, seriously, you need to come back now, and I'll owe you one. And so Punk, who wanted to come back at SummerSlam, came back at Payback instead and had a solid match against Chris Jericho. So I just hope it's not like that. I hope Seth is back under his own fruition, not needing to come back. He's obviously still very popular, probably has tons of money. He's got a family who's all at home, got time to spend with them. Hopefully this is just something he wants to do on his own. Regardless, the fans are happy to see him back. He talks about wanting to get back into the swing of things and how the easiest way to do that is to win Money in the Bank. And I immediately groan. I've always thought of Money in the Bank as a great opportunity for either up-and-coming talent, guys who are great in ladder matches, or guys who have never won the world title. And Seth was at one point one of those guys. The year he won Money in the Bank, he 100% qualified as all three of those things. Great ladder match, never won a world title, kind of newer. Like he totally fit the bill, as they say. He does not fit that bill anymore. Luckily, Damian Priest, El Campeon, comes out and he's nice to Seth. Maybe a little too nice in my opinion, but he's genuinely happy that he's back. He kind of reminds everyone, I'm fine, I'm not hurt. So that's great to hear. I know me and James talked in the Cash at the Castle review, try saying that 5 times fast, that we were concerned that Priest might be hurt after that. I don't even want to call it a botch because apparently the ring ropes, not the top ropes, had been giving people a number of superstars trouble on Saturday, and apparently there was an issue with the ropes. It was not the performers. So we should all give them a break and not use the B word. We got some comments. So let's just take a quick look. Congratulations from Chris Leclerc. Congratulations to Bailey. Number one fan Izzy Moreno became the youngest Mission Pro Wrestling champion at age of 17, and Bailey and Izzy Moreno are both champions in 2024. Chris, you're correct. But we'll talk about more of that on Friday, maybe, because this is Raw, not SmackDown. But congratulations to Izzy. That's great for her. I did see that. They grow up so fast. What can I say? I don't watch but WWE, but I'll hang out for a bit. You know it. I'm happy to have you here. Hello to you too. This is the Mark It Down podcast. I usually do Fridays, and I jump in here and there, but nobody was ready for Monday Night Raw except for me, so that's why I'm here taking care of y'all. Anyway, like I said, Damian Priest comes out, gives Seth a warm welcome. I can't really put it any way other than that, but also kind of wants to remind him, like, I'm the champ, but also makes a great point that, dude, you don't have to go for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Just pretend there's a briefcase hanging on top of me like there is one in the ring. Like, we can have a match at Money in the Bank. And I'm like, this is great. This makes sense. You know, Priest has not been a dominant champion, but he's also not been a cowardly champion. That's the way he's been booked. I think he's a champion that wants to prove himself that, he doesn't need the Judgment Day. Not that he doesn't want them, but that he doesn't need them. And two, he doesn't want to be this paperweight champion, he wants to be a credible champion, like I said. And the perfect way to do that is to beat Seth Rollins, who really doesn't need Money in the Bank. I mean, who doesn't want Money in the Bank? But I mean, if you could just get a straight up match, why not take it? I mean, he lost his title, hasn't gotten a rematch for it yet. Like, those are kind of, they go on and off in WWE, whether you're entitled to one or not. But I think in this case, it makes sense. So it looks like that's what they're leaning to. I don't think they officially announce it, but great way to start the show. Let's go on to what happened next. And this is where I got to look at my notes. First page of notes. Oh, one more thing about this. Seth runs down their similarities, which I thought was cool. It kind of makes Damian look a little bit better, because at this point in Seth's career, everybody loves him. Like, future Hall of Famer, 100%. Like, I wouldn't say Damian Priest is a future Hall of Famer yet. Plenty of time for that, for him to make that happen. But Seth is definitely that thing. The thing he said, the similarities. They're both from groups that were very, good. Says Judgment Day, says the greatest group of all time, the Shield. He said they both won Money in the Bank. He said they both held on to Money in the Bank for quite some time. And then finally says they both cashed in Money in the Bank on the grandest stage of them all. So that was the similarities he made. The only thing I didn't like about this promo is, like, Seth basically saying, like, oh, I want to be the greatest of all time, and I can prove that by holding this title. And I still don't buy that. I think it would have been better if he went about it like, I am the greatest of all time, and, I had an impeccable run with this title, and I want to continue that title's legacy. I started that title's legacy. I want to continue it and, like, continue that prestige that, like, started with me. I think that would have been a better way of saying it, because I don't think anyone buys the World Heavyweight title as, like, the GOAT title. You know what I mean? Cody's title is the GOAT title. That's the top tier title. Nothing wrong with the World Heavyweight title, but the title doesn't make the man makes the title. And I think, I don't know where to go with this, but that's basically, I think Seth, let's put it this way. I think Seth brings the most credibility to that title. And he should be like, I want to continue it, not that I want to be the GOAT, and being the GOAT is having this title. I don't buy that. But that's just my 2 cents on that. So let's run into the first match. Chad Gable, before we get to the match, Chad Gable backstage, Adam Pearce, talk about Clash of the Castle. Adam Pearce essentially tells Chad Gable he has to get to the back of the line. He's not happy to hear about that. He says, I'll take anybody. And Adam Pearce is like, oh, anybody, huh? Okay. And of course, you know where this is going. Anytime a heel says this, they end up in a match where they get squashed. And that's essentially what happens. Braun Strowman comes out, has a match with Chad Gable, squashes Gable. I am very sad. I am a sad boy Matt. And at this point, this is where I can never care about Gable again. I know I've said that before, when he lost the number one contendership before Mania. We're at that point again where I just can never care about Gable ever again. And it sucks. And I hate it. I think at this point in time, don't worry, you got to listen to the whole review because I'm going to go back and forth. You'll see. I'm all over the place. Okay. Gable at this point, to me, comes across as the next Dolph Ziggler, as a guy who was hot, who wasn't really being booked well and deserved better. And he had a choice to make. I can continue to do this in WWE, get a great paycheck, know my role, and just coast by, or I can go and try and reinvent myself like Cody or Drew McIntyre, or even before them, Chris Hero. He was like the dude to do that. And he decided to take the paycheck. And I'm like, bummer. Because you can't tell me that's not what Dolph Ziggler did. Like his last hurrah in WWE to me was just, ugh. Considering that guy was literally my favorite at one point. But moving on, and we'll get back to that Chad Gable stuff, because that's not the first end of Chad Gable tonight. We'll get more Chad Gable. Don't worry. It's coming. We get a Judgment Day segment in the back in their little clubhouse. They talk about what happened last week with the hotel key card. Finn says he throws it out. There's a little bit of like dissension kind of teased, but like Finn assures Damian and Damian assures Finn that everything's okay, and it seems all on the up and up. But the real nail biter here is that Dominic Mysterio can't find his purple vest. He's got a purple cow vest, and he can't find it. Where could it be? Well, we'll find out. Don't worry. Where we go next? Next match. Io Sky versus Zelina Vega versus Kiana James in a triple threat qualifying match for the women's Money in the Bank. And for me, I wanted Zelina Vega to win. I was sure Kiana James was going to win. The match itself was kind of stinky, and I blame Kiana James. I don't want to say I hate Kiana James. I know, and I don't want to say I hate women. Gotta clip that. I hate her character. I think her character is from the worst days of NXT, where it was essentially very early 90s WWE, where it's like, I'm not just a wrestler, I have another occupation. Wrestling dentist, wrestling cowboy. It's not really an occupation, but you get the drift, the gif, the drift, the gif. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, her persona, her character is, I'm a woman and I'm a wrestler, but I'm also a businesswoman. And I use what I learned in business to be a better wrestler, because business. And I have a handbag. And I'm like, this is so bad. It's terrible. I don't think she was ready for the main roster. I don't think she is. I don't know why she got promoted. She's in great shape. She's very athletic. And she's very pretty. But I don't see it. I think her in-ring skills are kind of bad. And I think if I'm going to be like, this is not me. This is not my thoughts. I already complimented her on the things, but I think it was the Vince McMahon era. Like, he'd be like, kind of just look at her chest and be like, no, you're not coming to the main roster. He'd be uninterested unless she fixed that. And I want to get into that. I'll give you a sidebar. So WWE, they would offer women boob jobs, and I think they still do that. I question, would WWE offer the guys hair treatments? Because I've noticed some of these guys are going bald. Like back to Chad Gable, great head of hair. Otis, not so much. Akira Tozawa, great head of hair. Chad Gable's opponent tonight, Braun Strowman, he's missing some. I'm glad he grew it back. I think he panicked and shaved it off too quick. And I don't even think it's a bad haircut. I'm just saying, WWE, if you're still offering, the women boob jobs, you should totally offer the guys hair jobs. I just think that's the way it should be in 2024, equal rights, equal opportunity. Because there are a number of balding guys in WWE, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like some of the guys here on the pod struggle with our hairlines. It happens. But if your job should totally offer it, like why not? That's just my sidebar on the thing. But back to the match. So I thought Kiana James was winning this easy. Surprisingly, Io Sky won. After a bad match towards the end, women's world heavyweight champion Liv Morgan comes out wearing Dom's purple vest. It's not very purple, so like the commentary team had to keep beating us over the head that like, oh, that's the purple vest. And it's like, is that Dom's name on it? And they like went overboard. It's like, dude, we're connecting A and B here. We got it. Like, just say it once. Like, she's wearing the vest, or is that Dom's vest? Just like leave it at that. You don't have to get so into it like they did. It was kind of embarrassing. So Chris Leclerc says Io Sky was the right choice to win. I agree. I think we're leading towards Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega, which I think could be a really good match and a great showcase for both women. And let's be honest, a great first defense for Liv Morgan. I hope they do it at the pay-per-view. If you've noticed, these pay-per-views, they've been having less matches. It's been like 5 matches as opposed to like, 6, 7, 8. So it might not even make the pay-per-view, but I hope it does. Liv wasn't on the last one, so we'll see. We'll see. But I think that's what they're going for, is that match. And I think they want to give Io, I think she would have lost a lot of credibility if she had lost this match, because she already lost like early in Queen of the Ring. She lost the title to Bayley. She's not getting a rematch for that title because she's Bayley's on SmackDown, and Io and Damage Control are now on Raw. So I think having her in the Money in the Bank, do I think she'll win it? No. But I think having her in there is good, and she's great. She's one of those gals. She's great at ladder matches. She fits one of my 3 parameters of that match, is that she's great at ladder matches. So we'll see. I think it's leading to the Damage Control breakup, but it's giving her something to do, which is great. Let's see. Next up, we have a video package of Braun Breaker destroying Ricochet. It's very grim. And then happy-go-lucky Sami Zayn comes out. And I'm like, this is really getting bipolar up in here. Like, what is going on? It's like up and down, back and forth. But of course, it made sense because Sami Zayn did a promo, which was kind of like, like it was a little focused too much on the Alpha Academy. But I guess he's a caring guy. I can't blame him. He's like James. He's too nice sometimes. James, our co-host, who I'm hoping he's doing well. James, thinking about you, buddy. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So Braun Breaker comes out to interrupt not Chad Gable. Not Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn. And so I'm like, oh, it made sense that they had the video package beforehand. And Braun Breaker comes out, and Sami Zayn has a great line. I'm going to paraphrase it, but he's like, they're just both standing there, and Sami Zayn, like, real quippy, just goes like, you didn't come out here just to stand here all night, did you? And Braun Breaker just kind of like smirks, and he's like, yeah, no, like, I want a title match. I'm going through guys, and like, you're next. He doesn't say you're next. He says you're next on the list. So that's what happens. And then Sheamus comes out. And I don't know. I was just happy to see Sheamus. Like, I think his return has been pretty lackluster. A lot of losses, people making fun of his weight. I think he still looks better than like probably everybody in the crowd there, like at least 90%. Here we go. We got... Oh, this is in regards. We're going to backtrack real quick to Io Sky. Chris Leclerc says CM Punk won back-to-back Money in the Bank matches in 2008 and 2009. Chris, you're totally correct. So, who knows? Io Sky could win again 2 years in a row. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. Also, with that CM Punk thing, you got to remember, I think it was was the first one. He was not supposed to win that match. They had Jeff Hardy penciled in to win that match. They had to take Jeff Hardy out due to personal, problems that Jeff has from time to time, and they had to switch up, who was going to win. So that may not have been in the original plans, but who knows? You're not. She's regardless. Io Sky is in the match, so it is entirely possible that Io Sky could win Money in the Bank for 2 years in a row. Would you like to see that, Chris? Is that what you want to see? Who would you like to see in Money in the Bank? Definitely shoot some names down in the comments. I'll go. If you give me some, I'll give you some of mine. In the meantime, I'm just gonna try and stick to this review, but we can totally go off tangent, off topic anytime you want, as long as it's revolving around wrestling and the main stuff that we're talking about here on Monday Night Raw and WWE in general. So, excuse me. So, Sheamus comes out. He starts jabber-jawing. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, maybe it's the Irish in me. Maybe it's just I met Sheamus once and he was a delight. Who knows? I'm just happy to see him. And I thought they were going to set up a triple threat match with all three of these guys, which I really like, because I think if they did Sammy versus Braun Breaker one-on-one, Braun Breaker would win. And I don't want to see Sammy's reign end this soon, unless it's to Chad Gable. Anyway, excuse me. Instead, they decide to do a number one contender match. Later in the night, it would be Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. And we will get back to that soon. Next up, we got Dragon Lee versus Carlito. And I guess Dragon Lee still hasn't gotten revenge on Carlito. I think that's the story they're going with. I don't watch every week. It's 3 hours. Can you really blame me? All I know is before we even get to the match, they come out. But before we get to the match, we do one of their backstage segments, which I hate. I hate when they have guys come out to the ring, have them stand in the ring. The crowd just stands there looking at the guys in the ring. And then they do a video package. I think it's dumb. It's terrible. Regardless, we see the women's tag champs, and they have a backstage segment with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. I almost didn't even mention this, but I feel like it's worth mentioning because they do. Shayna Baszler gets to mention that she did make Jade Cargill tap out in the match on Saturday, as well as beat the current tag team champs a week before. So they're basically next in line, but I think they want to focus on Money in the Bank in the first place. I like it when they acknowledge stuff like that, even if it's a mistake. Just don't act like we're dumb. Either come up with like a crazy convoluted explanation or just straight up admit it like they did here. Don't ignore it. That's the one thing I think that fans really have a hard time dealing with, because no one likes to feel like no one wants to be told they're a fool or treated like a fool. And that's what you do when you don't acknowledge things. And who doesn't like long-term storytelling? Yes, you're right. Another thing on Io Sky, I wish Dakota Kai would win more matches. I don't like seeing Asuka lose, or any of them lose for that matter, but like Dakota's the only one of those four that hasn't won well, that's not true. She's won the tag titles, but you know what I mean. Like Dakota's always the one taking the pin for the most part, but we'll get to them in a little bit. The Dragon Lee Carlito match was fine. Carlito doesn't do much for me in 2024, nor did he in like 2022. He just doesn't do anything for me in general. I know a lot of people like him. I should like him. Like him and my dad basically have the same name. I call my dad Carlito all the time, but I don't. I think my favorite thing Carlito has done on this return was last week when they did the Liv Morgan giving the key card, the hotel room key, and like, Dom's telling them that, and Carlito's like, "That's cool." And I'm like, that one, I popped. I'm like, that was a good one, Carlito. That was your best one yet. But regardless, this match was decent. It led to some shenanigans. I'm trying to remember what exactly. Oh, this was I think like the first instance for me where like good guys are acting really stupid. Like there's like good guys stupid and there's bad guys stupid, and tonight was good guys stupid. So Liv Morgan comes out again because while Carlito and Dragon Lee are having the match, the Judgment Day, JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio, as well as LAX, sorry, not LAX, LWO. I'm doing a lot of like, I feel like when I do this podcast, I have, what is it? Dyslexia. Like I'm always like mixing things up and whatnot. It's kind of funny. I should write more notes than this. But anyway, Liv Morgan comes out and, she gets close to Dominic Mysterio, and Zelina Vega, who got screwed over by Liv earlier, goes and attacks her. And they're like hitting each other, but it's mostly Zelina Vega just getting in a lot of offense. And this is dumb guy move of the night. Fellow LWO member, what's Zima Ion's name now? It's not Zima Ion anymore. It's not Cruz del Toro. That's the other guy. Joaquin Wilde. Joaquin Wilde comes over and like grabs Zelina Vega off of her. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, your girl's beating up that girl. If you're going to go break up a girl fight, you grab the girl that's not your girl. And that way your girl can get like a few more shots in. If a homeboy grabbed me, like while I was fighting someone, that dude that I'm fighting now has an opportunity to wail on me. They might be like, bro, what are you doing? You are going to get me killed. That's literally what almost happened to Jericho in that Goldberg fight back in the day and then the locker room. Anthony Navarro, what is up, my pal? Yeah, Raw was pretty good, but a lot of dumb good guy shenanigans tonight. And so that's number one. Joaquin Wilde grabbing Zelina Vega in a cat fight when he should be grabbing the other girl. Like that's what you do. Anyway, all this distraction and whatnot set up JD McDonough to trip Dragon Lee when he was on the corner turnbuckle, and Carlito capitalizes by hitting his backstabber from the turnbuckle in the corner, and it was solid. Carlito picks up the win, and so the good guys look stupid there, especially Joaquin Wilde. You're my dummy of the night. You're not my. What was my? I should make a sign, because I if it was buffoon of the week was my thing, but he's the dummy of the night. Maybe I'll just change it every single time I'm on. I'll have like a new catchphrase or moniker for somebody. Okay, so next up, Drew McIntyre comes out, and he just straight up quits. Like, he says CM Punk's name a couple times, and he does it pretty emotionally. Like, it's pretty solid, like, acting. And he just says, screw this company, I quit. Walks to the back, complaint. Adam Pearce runs out, like, and meets him at the entrance ramp. Like, it was too quick. It was too quick. And then they go to a commercial break, and then they come back from the commercial break, and they show what happened, that they had like a cameraman backstage, and he's talking to Adam Pearce, and he's talking to Triple H, and then he's talking to Adam Pearce as he's walking away, and he's done. He says he quits. And I think it would have made more sense if Adam Pearce had just caught him at the backstage. Like if he had left, we didn't see Adam Pearce at all, and we come back from commercial break, and then we see all that video stuff. I think that would have just been a little smoother, in my opinion. Not a big gripe, very small, in fact, no big deal. But that's how I felt. Anyway, we go on to our next match. It's a women's tag team match, and it's Kate Catanzaro and Katana Chance. Don't ask me which one's which. I always get them mixed up, name-wise, not like physical appearance-wise, because they're very different. Anyway, it's those two, the former tag champs, versus 2/4 of Damage Control, being not Io Sky, being Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai. And man, did these women work fast. And they were working solid. It was fast-paced, good, but it was so fast that you could tell, oh boy, they told the women to go 3 minutes and just like wrap up if they're lucky, and that's always a bummer. I don't like it when you watch someone rush through a match, even if it's good. And that's what this was. So it looked like, and this is another moment, this is where maybe the bad guys are acting more dumb than the good guys. Well, that's the thing, Chris. I think, did Dakota take the pay? we'll get to spoiler alert. Damage Control loses. So what happened was it looked like Damage Control was going to win in a very, very fast match. Kairi Sane hit the insane elbow, pins whichever person it was. Dakota's on the outside for some reason, and the one from Ninja Warrior was that one's Katana Chance, right? Pretty sure Katana Chance is Katie Catanzaro is Katana Chance. Yeah. So she broke up the pin, and it was just dumb. Like, it wasn't like Dakota being cocky. It just felt like Dakota being dumb for not, taking her out and making sure they got the pin. Anyway, they're back on offense. And for some reason, Lyra Valkyria comes out. I guess because she doesn't like Damage Control, but this match has nothing to do with her. And I'm like, why are you getting involved? Just dumb guy shenanigans, but not the same kind of dumb as Joaquin Wilde. That guy was just really dumb. That's the Dumbo of the night is him. Big dummy. Anyway, Casey and Catanzaro, yada yada yada, they win. And I think they pinned Kairi. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they pinned Kairi. Anyway, that was a bummer. Next up, we got Sheamus versus Braun Breaker in a pretty hard-hitting match. Like, this was cool. Like, I don't know if I'd call it a banger, especially with the ending, which we'll get to, but both these guys are hitting some hard-hitting offense. It looked like when Sheamus was doing the 10 beats of the Bowery, it looked like Breaker was just like, come on, man, not so hard. Like, it was kind of funny. Like, like a legitimate reaction to getting hit like that without completely derailing the match. Anyway, the best part probably had to be Sheamus got hit on the outside, and he was kind of laying on top of not like laying flat, but just kind of like very groggy against the announce table. So Braun Breaker stands on the apron, and he basically does like a lariat, sort of like combination, half lariat, half crossbody to Breaker. And it was awesome. And right before they went to the commercial break, Michael Cole, he said, Sheamus may be dead. And it's like, you don't hear stuff like that in WWE anymore. And it was just very, like, kind of serious, but also kind of joking. And I just enjoyed it. It was fun match, bad ending. And we'll get to another dumb good guy. So that basically, I understand what they do sometimes to keep the show going forward or to get to a spot or to do something that's planned. I get it. Sometimes you have to do it, but sometimes you can just plan it better. You know what I mean? And this is one of those moments. So at the end of the match, Ludwig Kaiser comes out and he attacks Sheamus. This has been an ongoing thing with them. I don't know why. Like, Sheamus already lost to Gunther in the King of the Ring tournament, the opening rounds. He then had a match with Ludwig Kaiser, which apparently he lost. So Sheamus not really doing a whole lot since his return. Sheamus, I forgot to look it up. So Ludwig Kaiser only attacked Sheamus. That's what happened. He attacks Sheamus. The ref sees it. The ref rings the bell. The match is over. It should be a DQ win for Sheamus. But again, I didn't check the results. Sometimes they do stuff that's dumb just to get the story across. Like, this could be a no contest. That way, Braun Breaker didn't lose. And they can either set up a rematch or they can set up a triple threat, which is what I wanted in the first place. Regardless, the match ends. Ludwig Kaiser's attacking Sheamus. Braun Breaker does an attack on Sheamus and not Ludwig Kaiser, which I always thought was strange. But then Braun Breaker's getting like pushed to the back by security and whatnot. Ludwig Kaiser still attacking Sheamus in the corner of the ring with the ring steps where the commentator table is. Sami Zayn has been out on commentary, sitting next to commentary the entire time. One, I don't know why they couldn't have him on commentary. He's just sitting there. Two, you're watching this guy, Sheamus, who, like, presumably you guys have respect, and you're just watching him who he was in a really hard beat down brawl, and like, he's now getting attacked by a guy who's not involved in the match, and he's literally there right in front of you getting attacked, and you're doing nothing, And it makes no sense as a good guy. This is the time where a good guy would get involved. Instead, it's because they want to set up Ludwig Kaiser going to the opposite side, running across to try and hit Sheamus, but he actually gets intercepted by Braun Breaker, who runs around the other way and spears Ludwig Kaiser in a great spot. Side note, I like Braun Breaker. I'm not a huge fan. I don't want to see him be champion yet. I still think he needs to cut his teeth a little bit more on the main roster. I'm really digging his yelling. It's kind of funny. It's more intense than like a Kevin Owens and less funny than a Kevin Owens, but I still find it funny and I still find it highly enjoyable. So, give me some guys who yell more. It's entertaining. It's potentially entertaining. Like, don't give me Omos yelling. Don't give me Brock Lesnar yelling if we ever get him back. Hell, if we get Brock Lesnar back, not that I want him back, and bad stuff happen, I get it. But if we got him back, I would take him yelling. I'd deal with it. I deal with the other stuff too. Sorry, this is just who I am. It's not right, but I mean, come on. Let's be honest. You guys miss Brock. I wish there was something like we could punish Brock that didn't also punish us as fans. I feel like if Brock did the crime, I guess the time is missing WWE, but then we also are getting punished, which sucks. But I in no way, shape, or form blame that lady. I'm forgetting her name at the moment, but it doesn't matter because that's not really Raw stuff anyway. I'm going on a side note, getting a little political, so you better watch out. Try to keep my takes as palatable as possible because I'm a people pleaser. Yeah. Okay. So what else we got here? So I assume Sheamus won that match by DQ and is now technically the number one contender. I doubt that's what they'll go with. And again, they might do a no contest. I mean, you remember when after WrestleMania 29, what's his name? Curtis Axel debuted, and he debuted against Triple H in a match, and they were having a match, and Triple H went to the outside, and he's like, and he was basically in storyline having a concussion issue, and they had to stop the match. And you would think, okay, this guy just got a concussion in a match, he loses by disqualification, like ref stoppage, whatever you want to call it. I thought that for years. I literally thought that Curtis Axel had a win, like a non-pin, non-submission win against Triple H. But I looked it up recently. It's a no contest. And it's the dumbest bullshit I've ever heard of. That's just Triple H needing to protect his character. And it's like, then why do it? It's just dumb. So this might be one of those situations. Not that Braun Breaker's like, I need to protect my character. I can't lose by DQ. I just think it might be a booking decision where they're like, it's a no contest. Nobody will notice. Guess what? I'll notice. We'll notice. Everyone will notice. But yeah, I'll have to go to the website. I meant to do that before I started the stream, but I just kind of forgot. If you notice, we kind of do like a basic stream when it's just me. If I don't have a producer, I don't have any, lines or tags or anything like that. The rules of wrestling are unbreakable. A DQ is a DQ. You know it, but yes, sometimes they'll randomly do it where it's like, oh, that was a no contest. But, as the result, I just told you about Triple H and Curtis Axel. Anyway, we're gonna move on. Wow, we're almost 40 minutes in. That's not bad for me. Dominic Mysterio still wants his vest, so he has a backstage segment with Liv Morgan. He starts unzipping it. Damian Priest sees him, and he's like, "Dominic, what are you doing?" And it's supposed to be funny. It's fine. It fills TV time. It's inoffensive, and like Liv Morgan gets to act like like get everyone hot and bothered some more. I mean, if this is the Attitude Era, she definitely wouldn't have had anything underneath that vest, but it's not the Attitude Era, my friends, for better or for worse. Regardless, she's doing a great job, I think. And Dom has his moments as well. Anyway, we move on to the last match, our men's qualifying Money in the Bank ladder match, which is Jey Uso. We see him coming out from the crowd back into the, they're doing one of those hallway segments where they start in the hallway. He's out there with fans. It's great. couple too many cell phones bothers me. That's just a young people thing. I get it. I just know if somebody had a phone in front of my face, I'd be like, mother, put the phone down. We're on TV. Like, your hand and your phone better not be covering my face from TV time. This is my moment. Like, put the phone down. Anyway, Jay comes out. He says he's going to win that briefcase. By mistake, the yeet case. And I'm like, okay, I like that. It's funny. I like it. Like Jey Uso. And he's going to have another triple threat match. This time it's Jey Uso versus Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. And I'm sure you know who's going to win if you've heard the rumors. There's been a lot of talk that Jey Uso is a favorite to win the Money in the Bank briefcase this year. But here's the other thing that I forgot to write down. I told you. You thought I forgot about Chad Gable. I never forget about Chad Gable. Chad Gable had a segment before this. He's backstage. I forgot to mention that Otis basically pushed him into the corner. Like, it seems like he's done. So Chad Gable, and I'm sorry that the pod's all over the place. This is why I need help. This is why I need my guys. I need my boys. Where are my boys? Did he get? I'm not sure what some of these these comments mean. Anyway, we're just going to keep going with it. So Chad Gable comes to the back and he's like, Otis, what gives? And Otis packs his bags and he's like, we're leaving. We're done. They walk out. Chad Gable is by himself. He's like, I don't need you losers anyway. Like, screw you guys. You know what, Otis, I'm going to do something I'm going to win Money in the Bank. And I'm going to do something you can never do, Otis, and that's cash in and become world champion. And, oh, my God, all of a sudden I'm invested in Chad Gable again. You son of a bitch. It's like an ex-girlfriend who keeps reeling me back. It's like, you just got me, man. And now my fantasy, my fantasy bookings, which I'll get to at the end of this episode, are going crazy because I got some good ones, which I'm sure I'm not the only person that has them. But anyway, let's get back to the main event match. Jey Uso versus versus Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. They have a good match. It's really funny. During Jey Uso's entrance, Michael Cole says, I'm eating with my flashlight. And he just sounded like everybody's dad saying that. I can't tell who's having more fun on commentary these days, whether it's Michael Cole on Raw or Taz on Dynamite. Would love to see those guys back together in some capacity. Hell, if they ever do an AEW WWE crossover match, I want that as my commentary team. Michael Cole and Taz. Reunion. Love it. Back to Raw, though. Rey Mysterio does a 619 to Finn's perfect abs. The Judgment Day come out and they screw Rey Mysterio. Specifically, again, Michael Cole says Dom tried to screw his own dad. And I'm like, oh man, if that's a Michael Scott moment if I've ever heard one. You don't expect to get screwed. You expect to get screwed by your job. You don't expect to get screwed by your girlfriend. Yeah. I know my Office references. Yeah. So the line should have been, you know what the line should have been. I'm not gonna mansplain it to you. I'm not gonna podsplain it to you. So yes, there were a lot of phones yeeting in the air for sure. You know it. I'm glad you're here. First time, I appreciate it. So anyway, back to this match. All the shenanigans happens. Finn hits a coup de grace on Rey Mysterio, goes for the pin. They switch camera angles to show us Jey Uso do the yeet splash, the Uso splash. I would have preferred just seeing it like out of nowhere and do the replay with the actual image of him. I always like it with their camera work where they do the surprises. I think they do a really good job of that. It's something that you get at home that you aren't going to get in person, because in person you're going to see that stuff. So that's what I personally, that's my little personal gripe. Not a big deal. They're usually very good with their camera work. There were a couple mistakes tonight, I noticed, and Castle, but not worth harping on about too much. I'd rather focus on the positive. It seems the night is over. Jey Uso Yeah, sorry, bro. I don't know everybody's names yet. Even our group chat, they changed the names recently to not actual people's names, and I'm like, oh my god, who is this? You're killing me, Smalls. Anyway, Jeet Yeet is Jay Jeet. Jay is doing the Yeet. Everyone's happy. There's one kid begging for a Jey Uso autograph with his hat and his pen. And to be fair, he's got a Yeet hat. I think his dad tells him, like, wait till the show's over. Like, good on that dad. But also, I blame WWE for having these guys sign autographs, like, on entrances now. Like, Cody does it. It's like, guys, do that during the commercial break. Do that when nobody's watching. I don't want to see you signing autographs. I feel like just everybody's going to be constantly begging for autographs, like, expecting them, in this kind of setting. It's like, no, you got to wait till, the moment after they do whatever they got to do for the television. That's when you do it. Oh, unless you have a really good sign. If you have a really good sign, you deserve to get it signed, like, during the entrance. But like a hat, come on. Wait till the lights go out. The lights go out. The show's not over though, because we have the debut of, I assume they're calling it the Wyatt 5. Very spooky, very scary, very horror-esque. On Saturday, my little caption said, "We paid for blood." That wasn't my best Hans Moleman impression. I can do another one later. But it was basically the same thing tonight, except I've made a huge mistake. And that's what I wonder. So we get a woman coming out, basically a horror woman, and it's definitely Nikki Cross. Then we kind of go on the side towards the back. We see like a few like unconscious bodies, like extras, I would assume. And we see a guy in like a bunny mask. It appears to be Eric Rowan. He's got the hammer and it says help on it. We then go into the back, like the gorilla position. And like everyone's knocked out. And there's another guy. This guy looks like Dexter Loomis, but they're all like very much covered up. If you didn't, like, you only knew who they were because, one, they were rumored, they fit the description, and specifically with the last three guys, it's the tattoos. Like Dexter Loomis's black arm. If he didn't have the black arm, I would have not known it was Dexter Loomis. We go past Gorilla, further backstage, and we get Joe Gacy in some kind of mask as well. And also, before we even got to Joe Gacy, we see like there's like a huge blood spatter against the wall and like people below it. So people get murdered, I guess. Like, where's all this blood coming? And there's like a bunch of unconscious bodies. So I guess WWE is going to have more unexplained murders. But like, will these people come back? Because we've had unexplained murders, but then people come back. I mean, you remember the pandemic? We had a buried alive AJ Styles. We had Baron Corbin, who murdered Rey Mysterio, and Aleister Black, throwing them off the roof. But we just have a bunch of stage hands. I don't know. Here's the worst part. This is my big complaint. And I will get to my fantasy booking soon before we wrap up tonight. After Joe Gacy, we see Chad Gable up against one of those, it's not a U-boat, but it's one of those crates with wheels. One of the big crates with wheels you always see. And we see him laying against it. And he's got like his head's like got a nice gash in it. And I'm like, why is Chad Gable getting involved? Why are we fucking this guy over? One, he's a bad guy. Two, he's been on TV like 3 times tonight. We're putting him on a 4th time to get killed, potentially. I don't get it. He's got it. They've also announced that he's in a triple threat match next week. So even though we lost tonight, he is in a qualifying match for Money in the Bank against Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, whose names I always mix up because they have B's and S's. Again, my pod dyslexia that I have. So he's scheduled for a Money in the Bank qualifier match, which I think he's guaranteed to win. I'm getting I have a producer coming in. A producer. I hope I'm able to let him in. Anyway, so Chad Gable has been attacked by this group, and finally at the end we get Uncle Howdy. They all come out together. It's only 5 of them, right? Dexter, Nikki Cross, was about to say Trent Seven. Jesus, I'm really getting dyslexic up in here. Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, and Uncle Howdy, aka Bo Dallas. So we get the Wyatt 5, and maybe that's what they're called. I don't know. And he says, "We're here," in a not great voice, to be honest. But the crowd seems into it. There's a lot going on here. Obviously, Braun Strowman is not involved. We saw him in the main event chase off the Judgment Day. His chase was very comical. Like, he wasn't his normal, like, trained self. He was kind of stubbly. Like, it was kind of silly. Regardless, this group is here. They're here on Raw. They've potentially murdered some people. They've murdered, or they've at least attacked the entire backstage crew and Chad Gable. I don't know why Chad Gable is the only superstar. I thought I saw another superstar. Like, there was one person that kind of looked like, I mean, you're right, but still, like, it was a lot of blood. Did they attack Gunther? I didn't see Gunther back there. Let me see. Anything I'm missing here? Just checking the private chat to see if maybe I made a flub up with Gunther, but was one of the Street Profits. It was kind of dark, and like I didn't pause because I had to catch up, and I didn't want to be late on the pod. But yeah, anytime you get like the dark corners and like the smoke, it can be harder to see. So like the faces on some of these guys. Like they really made a big deal at. Also, what is one of the Street Profits even doing there? They're SmackDown guys. Like Chad Gable, All-Star tonight, like on there 4 times. So at least it wasn't just Chad Gable. If it's like a bunch of guys like the Street Profits, if it's maybe Gunther, that I can deal with Chad Gable attacks as long as it doesn't interfere with my fantasy booking, which I'm going to go into right now. So Chad Gable's story. We all wanted, when I say we all, a lot of people, including like the majority of this pod, wanted to see Chad Gable beat Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. We thought the matches he had against Gunther was great. We think Chad Gable is great, one of the more underrated guys on the roster. Very reminiscent of Kurt Angle in both athleticism, Olympianness, even in comedic strats he's worked on the past 2 or 3 years, and he's become really something special. And we wanted to see that happen. And I think it's always harder to book a baby face to win a title than it is a heel. Because people will cheer, but do they actually care? I guess you could say the same thing about booing, but regardless, they didn't do that. They turned Chad heel. It's working great. We still wanted him to win the IC title. He did it. What if the story is, I didn't beat Gunther for the Intercontinental title. I didn't beat Gunther's historic run and make it up to my daughter who Gunther made cried. What if it is, I win Money in the Bank. I cash in on Gunther after Gunther wins the world title at SummerSlam. Hell, do it at SummerSlam, even though I think cash-ins at SummerSlam are a little overdone at this point. I deal with it. Have Chad successfully cash in on Gunther, and he wins the world title. And he wins it for his daughter, but maybe his daughter is now ashamed of him. Because he's like, what about Otis and Maxine and Tozawa? And he's like, what about those losers? I kicked them out. They suck. Like, I did this for you. You should be proud of me. I'm your father. So that's back to the Wyatt 5. That's another thing. We have this group, and I think we all initially was supposed to be 6 people, and then it got bumped down to 5. But I think a lot of people were expecting Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman, which I know if you add those 2 to these guys, it's 7. But I wouldn't mind them adding at least one more somewhere along the way. I think Braun Strowman is. It could really either be Braun Strowman or Alexa Bliss. I think Braun would be the better choice. I don't think Braun's really doing much. I mean, you could put him in a tag team with Rey Mysterio. I don't think that would be terrible, but I don't think that would be as proficient as being in the Wyatt group, especially since he has the familiarity there. And so does Alexa. They kind of go hand in hand, those two. But I don't know. But that was my review for Raw, and that was my fantasy booking for Chad Gable. So I'm back on the Chad wagon. We'll see if he wins Monday, unless they do something about this thing of him getting attacked by the Wyatts. I think he's got this in the bag. You know, I think Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman really do cancel each other out. I just hope that they let Chad Gable pin Braun Strowman. Like, just have him do Chaos Theory on him. We know he can do Chaos Theory, the rolling suplex onto Braun Strowman. He did it to him at WrestleMania last year, so that's totally doable. I think he's pinned Bronson Reed too many times now that it doesn't really mean anything. They obviously don't. I think they have Bronson Reed lower than Braun Strowman, but still, I think Braun Strowman could take the pin. It's a triple threat match. Just have it come out of nowhere, be bullshit. I don't care. But that's step one. Chad Gable has to get qualified for Money in the Bank, and I would love to see him win, even if, you know, Jey Uso is favorited. I don't think Jey Uso really needs it. I think Jey Uso, I think he can get there without it. Let's put it this way. How many world title matches has Jey Uso been in? How many world title matches has Chad Gable been in? I'm pretty sure Chad Gable's been in 0. Jey Uso on television has been in 1, 2, 3, at least 4. At least 4. Did he face off against Seth as well? He might have faced off against Seth. If he faced Seth at any time, I'm not sure if he did. I know Sami Zayn did. Maybe, I don't think he faced Seth. But if he did, that would be 5. But I'm pretty sure 4 times for Jey Uso. Maybe 5th time is that's the number. That's the lucky charm. But we shall see. Wait. 3 Roman Reigns, 1 Damian Priest. That's 4. Where did I just name before? Now I'm losing it. Let me think for a second, and then we're gonna wrap up. Of course, you got the most people now, and I'm already done with the review. Where were you guys? I'm finished. Say something in the comments. I'll keep going. We're wrapping up, but if you come up with a good question, I'll totally answer it while I think about Jey Uso's world title matches. 3 against Roman, 1 against Damian Priest. Yeah, I guess that's all of them. Well, that was my Raw review. I typically do Friday night SmackDowns, though they're kind of hard, you know. It's the weekends, that kind of thing. This is the Market Down podcast. I'm Matt Cascone, your host. You can follow me on Instagram at Matthew Cascone, and if you like Lego, at Matt's Minifigs. We got, give me 1 second. Here is Damian Priest on a ladder. So, yeah, I do that. Things we got coming up. We do Mondays. We do AEW on Wednesdays. James does TNA Impact or the Gym Pack Zone on Thursdays. And I'm supposed to do SmackDown on Fridays, but I don't always get to it. You can follow us on social media, Mark It Down Pod on Instagram. We're also on X and on Facebook. And you can catch us at wrestling shows in the New York area. So let's see. Today is the 17th. It's about to turn into the 18th. On the 28th is SmackDown in Madison Square Garden. Maybe we'll be at that. And then on the 30th is AEW Forbidden Door. We might be on that as well. And yeah, let us know what shows you're at. Let us know what we should be checking out. Like if there's something we missed, let us know. We're always happy to check out new stuff. We can only go so far, but we always like to do our best to accommodate you guys. So thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, take it easy. Let me find the outro. And I think this is it. Bye-bye.